Yo, what is going on today, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Today's video, I'm going to listen to all those Smite 2 informational things that Hyros has dropped. Personally, I played a little bit of Smite 2 since. I got invited to that early alpha testing stuff. And the game so far is phenomenal. I can't speak too much on it, but I can at least talk about the stuff that they talk about in Smite 2, give a little reaction to it. But I'm very excited. Let's jump right in.
My name's Andrea Chang, and I'm the audio director here at Hyros Studios working on Smite 2.
Audio in Smite is so bad.
So one of the first things that I would say is a huge improvement on our end is using meta sounds, which is our new audio system, which is a huge improvement over UE3's sound cues. We have increased voice count in Smite 2.
Interesting.
So in Smite 1, the voice cap limit was 32 voices. If you're basically just walking down lane solo, that's already 24 voices. And if you add like fighting minions on top of that, then you're pretty much at your voice count cap. Didn't want voices to just randomly cut out and miss out on important gameplay information. And so we raised the voice count limit to 128. That way people can hear things that they need to hear.
They had 32 sounds before. That's why like those Thothalts would cut out the like audio of like a global like Thor and stuff like that. It was like hard to hear, and now 128. So yeah, those abilities that are in range to hit you shouldn't cut out nearly as much, if at all. And this is like one of those big things that is like Smite 1's audio is so bad. Like if you guys play other games and then you play Smite and you listen to like Smite versus those other games, Smite is a bunch of sounds and then half of them cut out half the time. Actually, all of them cut out half the time. In late game team fights, fire giants, stuff like that, it's so bad.
We wanted to make sure that we gave the players really good spatial information for the audio. And one of the things that we improved in Smite 2 was the attenuations. So attenuation basically is if you have an object and it emits a sound, the radius that you hear that sound from is the attenuation of that sound. So if you look at the picture, the red circle is Smite 1's attenuation, and it's pretty large.
Wait, that is huge. This is Phoenix to Phoenix. That means you can basically hear anything on the map. That's why half those audio things, what's the Raven noise on the one skin, where it's like the you can literally hear that across the map, and this is so much nicer.
Smite 2 has a lot smaller of an attenuation. It's the blue circle, and because it's smaller, you get more accurate information of where the actual sound is spawning from. Occlusion is another way to give players better spatial information. So for example, if you have a Bellona behind a wall hacking away at the jungle, you don't want the Bellona to feel like they're right next to you. You want to feel like they're occluded or coming from behind the wall. We developed an occlusion system that occludes the sound if it's blocked by something or if it's obstructed by something. So the
That's sick.
So one of the things I wanted to do with Smite 2 sound design was take a very intentional approach, and part of that is making things feel a lot more responsive. So for example, in Ymir's AO1 ability, right when you press that button, you get that sound of him digging into the ground and ice crumbling. And design was having high quality informative sounds. For example, in Ymir's AO2 ability, he spawns these spikes. In Smite 1, you hear these kind of high-pitched, fragile sounds. And in Smite 2, I really wanted the player to feel like these are actual spikes that could hurt you and damage you. And so the sounds are a lot more visceral in Smite 2.
Maybe I'm deaf, but it doesn't sound that different.
You know, keep what's good from Smite 1. If it's not broken, then don't fix it. So Ymir's AO3 is a great example of that. How, you know, that's a very iconic sound.
Yep.
And players recognize it right when they hear it. They're like, oh, that's the frost breath.
Yeah.
We're a small team of 3 for audio, but I'm so proud of how much we've accomplished in such a short.
They're on fire. That sounds so much better.
I've been here at Hi-Res for about 17 years. The goal is just to make sure that we bring Smite to the next level. Really, that's my whole goal, making sure the quality is king and the fans get what they deserve for the next game.
The first process that we really had to go through is like, what is the kit for the god that we're bringing over? Like, what are the technical needs? What are the art needs? We look at that first, and the first team that actually starts on it now is design.
First, we go and look at the character, see what things that we've wanted to change over time. We have years and years of different balance beating discussions and community feedback about what people like about a character, what people don't like about a character, feature requests that they've wanted for a long time. So we try to consolidate all that together so we have like...
And before they even reach farther, the cool thing with Smite 2 now is because they're on this 10-year, 15-year updated system, there's things that they wanted to do, and I've talked to Aggro about this a lot. There's things that they've wanted to do that they have been able to add into Smite 1 that now Smite 2 kind of gives them that opportunity to do it. And some of those old kits like Cleo, which very cool god, I'm very interested to see how she's going to play in Smite 2. She had a clunky kit. Let's be real. She had a clunky kit. And now, like, the smoothness, how is she going to play, what's it going to feel like? I'm excited for that.
What are the gods that we're planning on bringing over, and how can we bring them over in a way that lets us build out these systems from scratch?
The On Her Skin update is so good.
Over kind of verbatim initially, and we try to figure out, then from there, where can we enhance it? The first thing is you're going from a spec gloss workflow, which is Unreal 3, which is an older tech thing, to a PBR workflow, which is physical-based rendering. That is a whole different type.
It actually looks icy.
So that's a whole process in itself. So we know
like the faces look better. Like, what are Anubis's eyebrows? They're not eyebrows. They just look like eyebrows.
See if there's any redesigns they want to make, and then they come to the gameplay team and like, here's our laundry list of items. Here's what we want to do, and then the gameplay team will go through and actually assess the technical needs.
One example of that was early on for Anubis. We tried something where maybe he didn't have a stun in his kit, and we tried to give him another ability that felt impactful for him, but that just didn't feel like you're still playing the same character, right? Without that stun, without that mummify, a lot of the rest of his kit kind of fell apart and didn't feel cohesive anymore.
That's interesting.
We looked at making the ult feel punchier, and we also made sure that the improvements that the Smite 1 team had made over the last few years, such as Anubis walking, were still reflected in Smite 2.
But it gives us a lot of flexibility now where we're able to give design the tools that they can actually go and prototype the entire god without needing gameplay programming at all, which is a complete 180.
That is something that you guys probably don't know, and I think he explained it pretty well, but just if you didn't catch it. Before, in Smite 1, if there was something like, yo, could we do this in the game? Like, could Anubis stick to a wall and be able to play like that when he uses his one for double the damage? Something, I don't know, something like that. Instead of the actual design team being able to test that, they would have to bring it to the gameplay team, and the gameplay team would have to set it up, do it. Do you like it like this? Yes, no, not, you don't. Okay, how about this, okay, this works. And then it could finally go back and be like, okay, here you go. Do you like it? And then it's like, okay, well, this is our grand idea. It doesn't work. We just wasted 2 days on this. Now it's, for the most part, can Anubis stick to the wall? I don't know. Let's go test it. Or let's go to the, whatever the system is called. Go to the system, make it, drag them to the wall, whatever. And they can basically test it themselves because the gameplay team can just give them this kind of like canvas of what they need to do. And they can kind of test it their own way. And it just saves a whole lot of time for both the design and balance, or both design and gameplay.
Areas we're working to use the advancements in UE5 and get over some of these pain points is the upper body, lower splits that we had in Smite 1. A lot of times you could see visibly when we were merging the characters' lower bodies to keep them running with their upper body, either melees or ability interactions, animations. Ymir, for example, if you look at him in Smite 1, when he runs around in melees, his pelvis shifts around a lot and has a very artificial feeling. But with a lot of the tools and pain points we're overcoming by moving to UE5, we're able to better adjust his pelvis based on what his body is doing at that time, so we get less of that clear break.
That's something I don't even notice. But when he points it out, it's obvious.
So for each god, we're going through cross-functional, reviewing all that together, and a lot of those fill up those boxes already. We need these abilities to change for this reason. We have to add this. And what that leaves us, though, on each one is some degree of just, on the animation front, just time to improve just the aesthetics. So each case, we're kind of filling up what needs to change, what has to change, and then we have some little bit of time that we use as judiciously as we can to improve all the animation presentations when we bring these characters over.
So that process took quite some time. I think for bringing Chalk over into the game, like for scratch on Smite 2, initially took us like probably 3 or 4 months, because we had to build up all those foundational systems. But we got Chalk playable probably within a month in Smite 2 because of blueprints and lane designs.
That's
and
sick.
Then gameplay was able to come in after the fact and really like clean them up. In Smite 1, it wouldn't have been possible. It would have taken us to build Chalk from the scratch in Smite 1 would have taken us 2 months gameplay programming time.
Wow.
Fully into Smite 2.
So time's cut in half.
Like, there's going to be so many things we can do just like that you'll notice a quality change just already for like all the Smite 2 gods, because they start off right, like we're gonna know areas that we can just kind of out the gate make look 10 times better.
The largest part for me as an animator is just restraint. There are so many things that we could do with the new technology. There are so many things that we'd like to explore further. The jump from UE5 to UE3, at least as a developer, is fantastic.
In this one, it's Onher's doing this.
Hold up.
Some of it causes us to just really see all the awesome things you can
And now
do
he
go,
actually looks like
I
he's
can only
using
take
an
2 of
ultimate.
those," and make the best decisions there.
Working on Smite 2 has been something that's been so incredible. It's truly like a love letter to everything in Smite 1. Seeing from the early days of Smite 1 and seeing now that we actually are working on Smite 2, actually delivering on this thing that really amplifies things to the next level. It's just been so incredible. Seeing the reception at SWC has been incredible. The audience reaction, all the fans coming up and talking about it. It's just so great to be able to actually talk about Smite 2 now.
Been working on this on and off throughout the years, trying different ways of doing it. And I think once you get your hands on it, you're really gonna love it.
So in our current alpha, you will see the auto build flow.
I'm so
This
excited
is
for
an
the
option that
items.
You'll have at the start of the game that shows you 2 different options that you can build for your character. These have been pre-made by us that you can hop in really quickly, and you just select one if you want to use that one. It gives you a brief rundown on what it does, or you can hit disable and you can actually go into the item store and do the full item experience there. When you go to the item store, you're actually going to see that most of the items are based off components. So rather than having the mace tree that builds into 4 mace items, you now have an axe. And this axe is the core component for all strength items that exist in the game. And so when you hit that button, you'll see a whole bunch of builds into, and that's how you determine what stats you want to go. So if you aren't sure exactly what you want in Smite 2, you can build an axe knowing that you want strength, and then maybe you want to get some attack speed. So you build a bow to give you some attack speed. Well, now you can see that you have those 2 items in your inventory. You can see what they build into, and that'll
It's
naturally
so
kind of guide you
clean.
to the item that you were trying to go for in the first place. So the main item stats
I
changes
love
are
it.
going to be strength and intelligence. You are familiar with this as physical power and magical power, but the main difference is all your characters can build both. There's no item restriction, so there's no you're only building physical power items or only magical power
And
items.
this change basically doubles potential builds. Say for gods like Bologna, maybe she life steals more in her 3 if she has more intelligence, and there's like a Bologna lifesteal build. Maybe with strength, her bludgeon does more AoE damage, or her block stacks double up fast, or you get more block stacks faster, something like that. Like the potential for builds now on these characters just goes double.
Build all strength and intelligence items. There's a few other minor changes, like lifesteal is now a global stat that affects everything, as well as CDR is now CDR again, but it's not a percentage, it actually modifies your cooldown exponentially as it gets higher and higher. Relics aren't a thing in Smite 2
Love that.
anymore. Instead, you start with Purification Bees as a default choice, as well as a ward act
I want them to change this so bad. I do not like starting with beads. Give me combat blink.
that you can use. And to replace relics, we're actually bringing in actives as a choice. So you have 6 item slots, and all 6 of those items could be active items. They actually have keybinds dedicated to them, so you can use them whenever you want. So you can think of this as a way to activate your passive effects without having to have it be some conditional trigger. There's a lot of different active effects that you
It's
can
so
bring
much
into your
better.
team, such as there's a mushroom that you can place on the ground that heals your whole team. There's an item that knocks people away, and there's even one that actually stasises the whole team, friendly and enemy, that actually can really shift a team fight. So these are really, really powerful effects, but we've tuned them such that
So
they
sick.
aren't super stat efficient. So if you want to go a more passive route, or if you want to go a more stat stick route, you want to focus on just making your character as strong as possible, you can still go those item builds. The choice is yours there.
I want characters to be gold again when they use relics, instead of just saying CC immune above their head. I like the visual, more obvious effect with CC immunity.
Own level of active usage that you want to be using. So we're not expecting everyone to have super high APM and execute a whole bunch of keybinds to be successful in Smite 2, but there are extra tools available for you if you want to engage in that place. In Smite 2, the item store really has 2 main goals. We want to make it easy for you to find the items that you want by building the kind of intuitive way that you might expect to. You want strength, you start building strength, and at the end of that, you'll have an item that actually does what you wanted.
Loki too, dude, look at how cool that was. Like, you actually get like this blind around you instead of gloop on your screen.
The way of showing their depth of different play styles and giving a lot of control to the player about how they want to build that character through both whether they choose strength, whether they choose int, whether they choose hybrid, whether they get supporting stats versus defensive stats, or if they want to go a whole active play style that has a whole bunch of active effects that can really round out weaknesses in their team. We want to make sure that that's something that players can easily grab onto and utilize and not be a huge burden to go into that playstyle. But also, if that's not what you want to go for, we want to give that customization so you can choose that own level of of kind of active choice. Items have also that strength and intelligence, so they're not split anymore between physical power and magical power, and a lot of our characters leverage that. So Chalk is a great example of a character who, if you want to get in there, swing your axe, and do a whole bunch of damage, largely strength is going to play to your playstyle, and you could probably build a strength build that's very similar to Smite 1. But we've also given him intelligence scaling, so things like the protections he gains on this 2 and the rain cloud healing of his 3. Those are actually now augmented by intelligence.
So
if you want to
sick.
play this more frontliner, tanky, really hard to kill Chalk, you can go more intelligence focused, and there's hybrid items there to support that.
Love that.
Style that specifically give both strength. And
Love that.
intelligence.
I'm so excited. Dude, just watching these videos, I've played a little bit of Smite 2 also from the alpha testing recently, and the game is... There's so much potential in this game. I'm so excited for it to actually like drop and for people to be playing it. But yeah, I just want to take a look, kind of see what is happening in Smite 2, give you guys actual updates within what's happening to the game. How is it going to change, better or worse? In my opinion, a lot of stuff is better. Some of the stuff I'm a little iffy about, beads not growing or glowing gold, or CC immunity not growing glowing gold. Also, automatic beads no matter what, kind of an L, but it's always something they could change. But for now, I just wanted to kind of show you guys what they've been working on, give my feedback on it, my interest. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you guys again next time. Peace.